Hey there, it's Trisha with Easy E-mini Trade, and I just want to do a quick video to show you a couple advanced entry techniques. This is what I'm going to be going over during tomorrow afternoon's webinar, which is Thursday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern, and then I'm going to invite everybody who attended the webinar or registered for the webinar to come in my room on Friday morning at 9:15. So then this way we'll get a chance to discuss everything that we went over Thursday, and you'll be able to see it live on my charts, and I can talk all about it to give you more info on the different Slinky entries and the advanced entry techniques. So if you have any questions on that, you can send me an email, but otherwise just go to my site, easyeeminitrade.com, and click on the webinar tab, and all the information will be there. So one of the advanced entry techniques doesn't require anything other than what we're already using. I've got my entry chart on the right. This is CL. So I'm using a 4 range for entries on that, and then an 8 range on the left for confirmation. And usually I don't have to have both charts up because I really only need to see the bottom part of this chart, but I wanted you to be able to see the whole picture here and what I was looking at. So one of the advanced techniques for entry is when you get 40 points worth of space between the two stochastics that we have overlaid here on our filter chart. When you get that much space there, generally what you're going to find is that that green stochastic line is going to find its way to the red, and the red up to the green. Now, how you can make use of that for whatever setups that you're trading, this is where this is occurring on my entry chart. So I'm actually coming up to resistance when I'm getting this 40 points worth of distance. So this is giving me further confirmation, telling me that, hey, I can go ahead and short off this resistance area on my entry chart, and the chances are good that it's going to move lower in the direction that I intended. Worst case is that it gets stuck down here at this swing low. Best case is that it finds its way down to the next area of support, which is the floor trader pivot point. So like I said, this is a great confirmation for taking this off of this smaller chart. Now, one thing I do want to point out is that if we have a very sideways market, what can happen is that these two stochastics will find their way toward each other if the market isn't moving. Like, let's say that I took this short and it just kept going sideways here and didn't go anywhere. These will still find their way toward each other. So you'll keep an eye on it once you're in, but you want to take them at areas where they're likely to hold, areas that make sense to you. So let's say that we weren't coming up to resistance here and you saw this big space here. You're not just going to short when it's in the middle of nowhere. It doesn't make any sense. You want to short off resistance, or let's say that you were getting a brand new Slinky short setup, let's say, and the 8 range didn't agree, except that you did have this, you could still take the entry off your 4 range. And I'll go over this in complete detail tomorrow at 4:30, so not to worry. So now this is the NQ, and let's see, I was looking for a good example of what we're calling a dipsy doodle. Now these advanced entry techniques, Gordon in my room is the one who came up with the names and the concept for these advanced techniques, and they work really well. So here's an example here where we're getting a Slinky setup here, and let me tell you what day this is. I think it might be yesterday. Yeah, it's yesterday, the 28th. So here's a short setup. Let me just fix this one chart. So this will be copying lines that I draw on that 1 range. So what chart number is that? Number 2. Okay. So here's where we're getting price to close below our super trend stop here on our entry chart. Here's the filter chart. And again, I don't need to see the whole chart while I'm trading. I only need to see the bottom part, but for the sake of explanation, that's why I'm showing this whole chart here on the 8 range. So This wouldn't be valid for a short because my double stochastic is telling me that it's not. However, we do have an advanced entry opportunity here. There's actually a couple things going for it here to take this short. One being is that you can see how the green stochastic line here came down and then came back up and almost kissed that red one. So you can see it came back up to it here. So that's called, what Gordon calls it, is a dipsy doodle. So even though this does not agree for a move to the downside, this is giving us an early confirmation that this is probably going to move down. Doesn't mean it's going to change the direction completely, but chances are that it's probably going to trade down to the next area of support. And the other thing that this has going for it on this 8 range chart is that while we're coming up to resistance of the 50% in our moving averages, we have divergence when we look at that green line here. So that also confirming that price is probably going to pull back off of this area of resistance. So if you were somebody who wanted to be a little bit more aggressive, you could take this short, and basically what you'd be looking for is the first area of support as your target, and then the second area of support as your target. Most of the time what you're going to find with those dipsy doodles, I know it's a crazy name, but hey, it works, is that it's going to basically be a continuation of the current move when you get it. So here you can see on our double stochastic here, see how it comes down and dips lower here and almost touches our red stochastic line. And right here we're getting a buy, and I had to scroll back a bit so we could get a good example here. But here you can see that we're getting a Slinky buy on our entry chart, and it's already valid because our green stochastic line is above the red. But when you get this little dip back to your line, your red line like that, that's going to make this setup a pretty high probability setup. So just keep that in mind when you see that. And like I said, I will go over this in more detail tomorrow during the webinar. So if you're interested, love to have you. Okay, you guys have a great day, and we'll talk to you later.